Hello, all heroes, and welcome back to Invincible Guarding the Globe. And today we are going to be going over the current restricted arena going on this week. Now, this one is an interesting one because it is attackers. No other traits, no other tags, just raw attackers. If you are part of the attacker archetype, then you are allowed in this fight, which is going to make for some very interesting combos, as you will immediately see down here in my list of available battles. So, being that attacker is probably the most prolific attack type in the game, there's a lot of options. So, what we're going to do here is we're going to talk about, first of all, we're going to talk about the group of characters that you will likely use as a mid-game player slash free-to-play player, assuming you do not have a lot of the rare characters. Like, we're talking like the Viltrumites and stuff like that. You probably won't have those characters. So, first of all, Queen of the Castle, as always, is Universa. I've preached her praises before, and I will preach them again. Universa is the best character in the game, arguably. There is some debate that she might be comparable to Invincible. Personally, though, once you do get her skills powered up, especially Tripping the Light Fantastic, she is just the best character in the game, period. We, to this day, do not have a character that can wholly compete with her. This ability, Tripping the Light Fantastic, whenever she gets a crit, she effectively just nukes the entire team, just for the heck of it. And then her Thunderstruck ability actually is the entire team nuke. I mean, what more could you want? What more could you want? And then if she has any last line of defense characters, which in this particular arena you probably will, then if they fall, she gets even more crit chance, meaning that she is triggering Tripping the Light Fantastic even more often. The other mainstay of the team is the one and only Invincible himself. He is simple and he is effective. He does just a ton of damage, especially if you get his supersonic ability, effectively increasing its damage by a factor of 2, which is rather nice. And then his inner Viltrumite ability will give him just straight up immunity to damage, making him a pseudo tank. You can't go wrong here. And don't you worry, Conquest is nowhere to be seen. Conquest is a defender, so your immunity will hold up for the entire 7 seconds, or however long it is, but depending on how you have it upgraded. This is another character that I recommend giving a lot of love upgrading. Next, we're actually going to talk about Omni-Man. Omni-Man does not get the love that he deserves because he's not bad. He's just not as good as certain characters. But at the end of the day, for a mid-tier player, or even a late-tier player, if you really do have him built up, Omni-Man's great. He is a massive stat ball who will do great damage. Against humans, whole team gets life leech. Certainly not a bad thing if you have this skill leveled up. His main ability does just good damage, and he can use it often if you do have his unstoppable ability powered up. And then, every now and then, he can just nuke somebody. If their HP is under a threshold, depending on how leveled up you have this ability, he can just nuke someone. So it is quite nice. And even if he doesn't, he gets a massive attack increase for like a solid 15 seconds at level 8 here. That's a 25% boost at level 10. Like, this bad boy is nice. Omni-Man, the only thing that makes Omni-Man unfortunate is that he just has a hard time competing with the newer Viltrumites and then characters like Universa and Invincible. So he struggles a little bit. But he is still a fantastic stat ball and a great damage dealer. Next, of course, we want to talk about Seismic. Arguably, in my opinion, the third best character in the game. Because what can he do? Well, he can do pretty much everything. He can do crazy damage and dispel shields with his main ability. He can actually kind of put the fear of the Lord in Viltrumites a little bit, because his main ability, Aftershock here, actually does specifically target Viltrumites. Now, that might not matter if he's facing Anissa, and Anissa just nukes his butt anyway. But hey, if you're fighting Invincibles or Thulas or Omni-Mans, this actually will help. I mean, 20% decrease in energy defense is no small thing, even at level 1. Take it all the way to level 10, and it's 40%. Not bad, but it's these two abilities that are his bread and butter. Against flying enemies, he can ground and stun them. That goes all the way up to level 30 at level 10. And then his shockwave will keep him nice and safe from grounded melee characters, allowing him to bounce away from them and stun them for a crippling 3 seconds, which is not half bad in the slightest. Now next, this character is a little bit on the rarer side, but he is currently available in the multiverse arena, so I'm going to count it. Agent Spider is a bit of a sleeper hit. Not enough people give him credit. The ones who do use him love him because he does some great stuff. First of all, his main ability here, he can literally use it at the start of battle, and he'll just grab them, grab someone from across the field, stun them, and then do good damage and push them, which, by the way, pairs very nicely with Anissa if you have her on the team. But basically, he just gets to use his ultimate ability at the beginning of the fight. And that stun actually goes up to 3.25% at level 10 and 3% at level 9, which is no small feat. That's a chunky stun to be able to whip out right at the beginning of the fight. If there's any last line defense heroes, team's crit chance goes up by a percentage. This pairs beautifully with Anissa. Like, literally, this ability, as long as you have a last line defense hero in the team, along with Agent Spider, this ability is made to crank up Anissa, especially if you do have it powered up. Whenever an enemy gets stunned, he basically does extra damage, which is no small feat. And then every few basic attacks, he does actually get kind of a mini stun. It's only like a 0.5% stun. Keeping in mind, though, that will pair with his Arachnomore ability, allowing him to do more damage. So literally, lots of stuns, lots of damage, and ultimate ability right at the beginning of the fight. Knockoff Spider-Man's doing pretty good. So that's the team I would recommend if you are a newer player. I'll give an honorable mention to the Maulers. They work fine together and they won't have Angstrom. So, like I said, it's an honorable mention. But if you have both of them, or maybe even if you're one of those crazy people who have a full Mauler team, you might get a little love out of them. You might. Nothing saying that you won't. However, just a few more options. Battle Beasts, it's fantastic. Lots of good characters in there in the attacker faction, but that's like the free to play possible characters. Now let's talk about the event characters, specifically Nissa and Thula. If you have these two characters, they will put your current team, your attacker team, on another level, and it will not take long to see why. First of all, Anissa does crazy damage on her main ability and just straight up yeets an opponent out of the fight for a hot second there, which can be very helpful if you hit their Alan, because Alan is a tanky boy, so you can just delete him from the map for a hot second. Meanwhile, all your characters can now focus fire on the DPS while the tank is trying to come back into the fight. I mean, what's not to love? War of Attrition. This is the anti-human ability, where it just makes humans into lore-accurate humans versus Viltrumites. They just crumble, and that includes Doc Seismic, that includes Invincible. It's an Agent Spider. That's a long list of characters that this ability effectively neutralizes. When an enemy is pushed, and this will dash toward them, doing a ton of damage and decreasing their healing. Pairs very well with characters like Agent Spider, Doc Seismic. There's a lot to love here. And then this ability here, if anybody dies from her blast through ability, she just gets a massive crank up. She just hits harder and uses her ability even faster. This one admittedly doesn't proc very often, in my experience. But when it does, yeah, no, you win. It's unstoppable. And then her Viltrumite cohort in the form of Thula. Thula is amazing. She does great damage with her main ability, and a pretty snappy 17 seconds, not too bad. But this one right here, a Lust for Death, increases her attack by a percentage every time an ally or enemy Viltrumite dies. And that one is key. Even if you're fighting other Viltrumites, you bring them down, she goes crazy. She will destroy the enemy. And then this ability here at the start of battle, once you do get it leveled up a little bit, she will attack the target with less HP using a combined movement that deals damage and stuns them. Not unlike Agent Spider, it's literally just a stun at the very beginning of the fight. I mean, what's not to love? Meanwhile, Invincible actually does have a similar ability in the form of Go for the Big Guy. He attacks the enemy with the highest attack power. Here's the thing with that. You want to know who usually has the highest attack power? Usually it's the enemy with the least HP. Because unless it's like a character in there that's like just straight up lower power, in which case Invincible probably, or Thula will probably just nuke him anyway. But what I've seen happen more often than not is at the very beginning of the fight, Thula and Invincible will go after the same target at the beginning of the fight and just delete them. Bonus points if Anissa's on the team, making it a human that's just totally squishy. They will just delete them in the beginning of the fight. No questions asked. So, yeah, nice thing is, this one is pretty free-to-play friendly. Also, Blue Suit, if you do have them, that one I wouldn't put a whole lot of stock in. I'm not going to go into that a whole lot because not a lot of people will have them, except for the whales. And, well, if you're a whale, then you already know what you're cooking with that one. But we do have a few Blue Suit marks in here. This one's actually a bit of an intimidating one for me. So what I'm going to go for... I am actually going to chuck in my Battle Beast because he's just a teensy-weensy bit stronger than Omni-Man. Not a lot, but enough to make me care. And this fight, this one is a good one that is pretty intimidating. But, like I said, even that Blue Suit mark just gets nuked because Anissa's just shredding his defense. We did lose Battle Beast, but that's not a big deal because we're going to just eliminate this guy. He's trying his best, though. I'll give him that, but it's just not going to matter. It's just not going to matter. And if you look at the statistics here, yeah, Universa obviously did the most damage. Their Blue Suit mark barely even got a chance to breathe, with Anissa coming in second and Thula coming in third. So, yeah, that works nicely. That works very nicely. But don't worry, if you don't have Anissa and Thula, you can absolutely still make a solid attacker team to get you through this arena week. But we are going to leave it at that. Let me know what you think of this arena down in the comments below. Are you having fun just going for maximum progress, maximum effort? And let me know, and we shall see you next time. Have a good one.